Welcome to Sports Talk, folks. I am your host, like always, Zach Barnett. I had a special guest with me on today. His name is Ken Walter. He was a former NFL punter for the Patriots. Stay tuned for the interview. Let's take a moment and thank our sponsors for this interview and podcast, Vane Protective Gear and Marcus Ogden, inspiring others to take accountability. But I wanted to do an interview about your sports journey in football.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So when you were a kid, my friend, what moment made you choose football over any other sport that you could have played?
Oh, man, it wasn't until probably my sophomore, junior year in high school. I was a three-sport athlete.
Yes, sir.
And my first and only love was baseball. And I was getting some attention from some pro scouts as a catcher in baseball. And but on football, I was kind of a utility guy, quarterback, wide receiver, outside linebacker, tight end. But I can punt.
Yes, sir.
And I was right-handed, left-footed, but I just had power, like kind of unusual power. Like any kid that was out there and I punted, it was like, night and day.
Yes, sir.
People would just be like, "Oh my goodness,"
Yes, sir.
So it wasn't until probably my sophomore, junior year where I had a coach who told me I can get to the next level, and he said, "I'm not talking about college." So I kind of started getting serious about it, and punting is like going to the driving range. I mean, you got to have a lot of football, so my old man was kind of, he was like, "Well, I'm going to go in debt buying you footballs," but I guess that paid off.
Yes, sir. So, you were a part of so many great memories during your career. So, what memory stands out? And I'm pretty sure it's probably the Super Bowls with New England. But let's hear your greatest memories of your football days.
Oh, boy. I mean, yeah, those are right up at the top, and those are probably, cherry pickers. Those are easy to put on the top of the list. But, there were some pretty good ones. The snow game against the Raiders was
definitely.
That was a memorable one. Probably because it was, I want to say that was my first playoff game.
Yes, sir.
On a crazy year because my wife was pregnant and she was expecting any time. And so I had a lot of things going through my mind, but that snow game and just the operation that we had to have as a snap hold kick was crucial.
Yes, sir.
And it kind of proved the work that Adam, myself, and Lonnie Paxton put in on a daily basis, just taking, hundreds of snaps every day just to be perfect, because you have to be perfect in a situation where you're trying to score points.
Yes, sir. And wasn't that the tuck rule game?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I remember, my friend. Yeah. That will probably go down in history, my friend, and Charles Woodson won't ever forget it.
Yeah, exactly right. And towards the end of the game, I've always said in interviews that I love John Gruden to death. I mean, I would play for the guy, any day. I like his style, I like his tenacity, and but he called a timeout on the game-winning, chip shot, which enabled us. Well, if we were able to bring the offensive lineman over to the spot, and everybody used their long cleats and cleared a huge spot. So when you look at the game-winning kick on a picture, you can just see this brown spot in the snow where we were able to clear everything because it was difficult with 4 or 5 inches of snow. So if we had to go out there and just put it in there, anything could happen. He could have slipped. He could have been a bad hold on my part, just because the snow was all over. So that one, I was perplexed at that time out, but that's how it all happened.
Definitely. So this is going back to your college days to the pro level. How was the transition for you from Kent State to Carolina?
I had a unique situation going from college to pro. I was a ball boy for the Cleveland Browns when Bill Belichick was the head coach in Cleveland. I grew up in Cleveland, and a good friend of mine in high school, his dad was the equipment manager for the Cleveland Browns.
Yes, sir.
And over one of the summers, his dad asked me if I was interested in being a ball boy and working with the special teams, because he knew I was, going to Kent to punt and everything. So, I was like, heck yeah. So throughout my college career in the summers, I was working for the Browns, and the coaches would always call Kent State and say that I'm going to miss a lot of camp. In fact, I don't even know if I really ever went to a college camp my whole career. So I would basically come in almost game week.
Oh, hey.
Or maybe just a little before. They would just tell him, look, he's working out. Because Belichick would use me every day in training camp as a ball boy because I was a lefty, because I was a big hang time guy. I would kick to the returners, guys like, Eric Metcalf, who was, an all-pro punt returner, kickoff returner. He's up there in the history books of, return kicks for touchdowns. So, yeah, I would punt to the returners, and they would drop stuff, and Bill would get pissed off at them, and they would get pissed off at me in the locker room, saying I'm kicking them too high. But so that kind of goes back to a little bit of the history. So I think when I was at Kent State, I knew what it took because sometimes I can out punt, professional punter. And so the confidence that I had in myself and my abilities, I knew I could do it at that level. And then, being around coaches, scouts, and other players, after 1, 2, 3, I even made the transition from Cleveland to Baltimore in 1996 when it was Ray Lewis's rookie year.
Yes, sir.
And then the following year, because I remember the punter at the Baltimore Ravens, Greg Montgomery, told me that he's like, you're kicking better than me, and you should be in the NFL right now. But obviously that didn't happen, and then the following year is when I went to Carolina. So
that was...
and it still wasn't an easy journey.
Yes, sir. So that was basically your rookie year in 96?
97.
97, yes, sir.
97. In 96, I was still a ball boy for the Ravens.
Yes, sir. So, tell me about some of the players that you got and had friendships with. Who had the most impact on you as a player?
Whew. Man, that's a tough one.
I tried, baby. I tried.
Well, everybody that, oh man, every team, let's put it that way, that I've been on, or that I was on, I was never really treated, as they say, kickers and punters, whatever, no respect. Guys knew my capabilities. Defensive guys knew I was a huge hang time guy. So, the punter is the setup man for the defense. And good defenses and good defensive coordinators and head coaches know the importance of, a slide in field protection or in field position. So, a lot of defensive guys, Bruschi, Vrabel, Roman Pfeiffer, Larry Izzo, Lonnie Paxson being a snapper and him and I working so hard together. And then, honestly, every gunner that I ever had, they were tied to me. They wanted to work. They made their money by forcing fair catches and making big hits and, trying to get fumbles on a punt, which we've gotten many because of the hang time that I was able to get. And, guys like Bucky Jones, Gerard Cherry, Michael Bates, Dwight Stone, Mike Spurlock. Geez,
The list goes on and on.
Going on the list, I've had, I've had some really, really big guys step up, and I think Mike Vrabel and I were from around the same area in Ohio. So we developed, we just being Ohio boys.
Yes, sir.
Developed a good relationship.
From all of us at Sports Talk, this is the end of this episode. Stay tuned to Sports Talk with Zach Barnett. Thanks again, and God bless.